Great North Woods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. The body of a Maine lobsterman has been recovered from the coast of Maine. We'll have the story coming up. Plus, the Maine DOT is stepping up efforts to improve safety in Maine's work zones. And we'll also take you to a meeting in Bangor where officials are considering expanding the workforce as part of the city budget. Good morning, everyone. I'm Craig Colson. Janessa Bishop has the day off today. We thank you for joining us on this Friday morning. We'll have all the day's news coming up, including the latest on a bunch of tornadoes that touched down in the Plains states, causing a lot of destruction there. We'll have that coming up too. But first, a check of your forecast. Around here, it looks like today will be much like we've seen the last couple of days. A lot of clouds, chance of rain, maybe even a little snow in some areas. But then things will start to clear out and warm up a little bit as we head into the weekend. For more on that, let's turn things over to Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Start your morning right at Clifton General Store. Fresh coffee and hot breakfast. Family owned and operated. Alrighty, here we go. This morning, no advisories in effect. We're going to be watching for some rain and possibly a few snow showers, at least during the morning period. We'll switch over to a few rain showers coming up throughout the daytime period as temperatures get above freezing. So let's zoom things out. The culprit is a little area of low pressure that will be moving away. So again, a few sprinkles of light rain showers possible this afternoon. This morning, a few light snow showers can't be ruled out before that switches over to rainfall. So here's Futurecast picking up on that activity. It will be backing off later on tonight with the clouds breaking up as well. So some gusty winds possible today too, reaching up to about 20 miles per hour. We'll see the winds relaxing overnight, and even once we head towards tomorrow, we may see the winds picking up a little bit, but not the worst, around 15 miles per hour, a little bit higher further off towards the east. So your hourly forecast moving forward, again, we have clouds, some sprinkles or light rain showers, maybe a few snowflakes early on with temperatures rising into the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig?
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, authorities say the body of a missing fisherman from Steuben has been found. According to the Maine Marine Patrol, the body of 63-year-old Thomas West was recovered from the waters of Dyer Bay near his 35-foot lobster boat called Aces of Eights. Officials say West was reported missing at around 9 p.m. on Tuesday after local fishermen discovered his boat was running with no one on board. Marine Patrol launched the search that night using a remotely operated vehicle in the water, but suspended the search at around 2:30 a.m. On Wednesday, due to low visibility, they plan to resume search efforts, but the Marine Patrol was notified that West's body had been discovered by family members and was transferred to a relative's fishing boat. His body was then transported to the office of the medical examiner in Augusta for an examination. In other news, a man from Rome, Maine has been indicted on a dozen felony charges by the Kennebec County Grand Jury. 79-year-old David Allen Henry stands accused of attempted murder and multiple counts of elevated aggravated assault, unlawful sexual contact, and gross sexual assault. Court documents say he attempted to cause a female individual's death by strangulation and hitting her in the head repeatedly with a baseball bat. Documents also show the unlawful sexual contact and gross sexual assault charges stem from alleged incidents where they say Henry subjected victims younger than 12 or younger than 14 into sexual contact or sexual acts. A Bangor man has been arrested for two separate incidents that happened within hours of each other. It was just after noon on Thursday when police were called to the intersection of Broadway and State Street for a man who was walking in traffic and throwing a hand tool at a vehicle. Police say the driver of that vehicle chased 52-year-old Robert Burt, who dropped a medication bottle with his name on it as he ran away. Bangor police later received a report of a stolen vehicle, and security video revealed Burt was also responsible for that. Police then received a report that the stolen vehicle was in Brewer, and that's where Burt was arrested. He's now charged with theft by unauthorized taking, operating after suspension, and criminal mischief. Two Pittsfield residents now face charges after a months-long investigation into drug trafficking in the area, not only in Pittsfield, but in the Canaan area as well. The Maine DEA says 44-year-old Joshua Johnson of Pittsfield was arrested yesterday after authorities obtained an arrest warrant for him after they say the undercover agents bought fentanyl from him multiple times. His residence on the Canaan Road was searched. He now faces multiple aggravated drug trafficking charges. 28-year-old Samantha Quimby, also of Pittsfield, was arrested on outstanding warrants for theft, operating after suspension, and bail violations. And both of them were taken into custody without incident and transported to the Somerset County Jail. Well, a case of vandalism involving a centuries-old tree has upset a community. Gail White of the Orono Land Trust says they discovered a couple of days ago that someone had spray painted the big old tree in the Jeremiah Colburn Natural Area of the Land Trust. She says this area is truly sacred to them since the area and the tree were what inspired the creation of that land trust. She says the paint is extremely harmful to the tree as it seeps into the bark, blocks the tree's oxygen intake, and eliminates the tree's ability to release carbon dioxide. She says the tree is a central figure and an iconic part of the trust since 1986 and has never been purposely damaged before.
I would swear half the town has been out to see that tree and taken their kids, and they've climbed them, and a lot of people our age remember climbing it when they were kids, and my kids, my grandkids have gone out, and it's just disheartening.
Well, she says the Land Trust is researching the best and least impactful ways to remove the paint from the tree in hopes of rejuvenating it. Well, a sigh of relief in the town of Winslow, where the police department says they have found Zachary Crothers. The Winslow Police Department says he was found around 9 and 10 yesterday morning, and that he's doing okay. The 24-year-old went missing Sunday afternoon, prompting police to ask those living in the area of Clinton Avenue, Benton Avenue, and Halifax Street to review camera footage from that day. Authorities say Crothers has developmental disabilities and his family was concerned for his safety. We are sure they are breathing a lot easier this morning. Well, as part of National Work Zone Awareness Week, the Maine Department of Transportation is urging drivers to slow down and stay alert in work zones. Our Alex Schley spent the day in Bangor with a crew at the Broadway Street overpass, where the margin for error is razor thin.
In many active work zones across Maine, crews were just feet from traffic.
Standing on the line of cones that divides the work zone from the traffic, and traffic was still flying at 65, 70, and you got 18-wheelers 2 to 3 feet off your backside.
When you see a cone, think people. That's a message driving this year's Work Zone Awareness Week in Maine.
When you get into kind of the more downtown areas like this in Bangor, we're dealing with a lot of traffic. We got about 20,000 cars in each direction.
In Maine work zones, speed limits drop to 55 miles per hour or lower, but workers say many drivers aren't getting the message. According to a 2025 study by Maine Transportation Authority, 95% of drivers speed through work zones, with 42% traveling more than 21 miles per hour over the limit.
Everybody has a place to be. They want to get there on time, but at the same rate, we're out here trying to make sure that the transit in this state is safe and good for the future.
And for some workers, the consequences can be deadly. In January, 2 Maine DOT workers were struck and killed on an overpass in Waterville. Crews say they're working to do their part to stay safe on the job.
Obviously, we wear reflective gear. Like in a job site like this, we're sitting behind barrier to make sure that traffic can't come in where it's not supposed to.
But even with those safeguards in place, workers say safety ultimately comes down to drivers paying attention. So don't drive distracted, keep your eyes on the road, and pay attention. That is as easy as it sounds and might just save a life. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
There are 140 homes on Newbury Neck Peninsula in Surrey, but when a storm washes away a section of its main road, it puts first responders at risk. That's why one select board member was shocked to learn that residents turned down a project to prevent such damage from happening again. Our Doug Banks with that story.
There were many roads across Maine that suffered severe damage during the winter storms of 2023 and 2024. This section of Newbury Neck Road in Surrey being one of them. 4 storms between December of 2023 and March of 2024 inflicted $400,000 worth of damages on Surrey. But when the town received federal funding to construct a more storm-resistant crossing through Carrying Place Beach, residents voted against it.
Different people had different thoughts about it.
A visit to Newbury Neck Peninsula could include a stop by Perry's Lobster Co. while seeing a different side of Mount Desert Island.
It's a special place for Surrey.
The peninsula is flanked by Morgan Bay and Union River Bay. In the middle is the town's only public beach.
The beach is the pinch point,
which he says is susceptible to erosion when storm surges and high tide combine. It's a reason why in September of 2022, a town-formed committee determined it was an asset worth saving. The road is currently 8.9 feet above sea level. A reconstruction project would have added 3 to 6 feet to it. Stark says the town was able to obtain $2.9 million in congressionally directed spending. A 25% town match would have been required, but Stark says plans were in place to use state grants before even considering touching taxpayer dollars. Which is why Stark says it was an unexpected turn of events when the Newbury Neck Peninsula storm evacuation project was turned down by residents on a recent referendum ballot by a 240 to 178 vote. Why? Stark suggests it could have come down to costs and aesthetics.
4 years of research and listening to people identify it as one of our top 5 priorities in town to come up with a solution. And now, our hands are tied.
In Surrey, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And the time now is 6:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, Bangor begins the process of coming up with a budget for the coming year, and several departments say they need more employees. We'll have the story. But first, another look at the forecast. Today will be another cloudy day ahead with a chance of rain and snow, highs around 45 degrees. Mostly clear tonight, with lows dropping down to the upper 20s. Tomorrow, much better, partly cloudy, highs near 55. We'll be right back.
Pat's Pizza in Holden is not just a restaurant that serves delicious food and pizza. They also have an adjacent party and event room. Consider having your birthday or office party at Pat's Pizza. They have a pro shop and a beautiful 9-hole golf course opening in the spring. Pat's Pizza Holden.
The marathon of life can be challenging. Chores and responsibilities keep us from the things we once loved and the aspirations we set. But it's never too late to find your second wind. With an affordable, fully online program and advisors to help you along the way, you can cross the finish line when it works for you. Finish strong at the University of Maine.
Did you fear for your life?
She accused former Michigan head coach Sharon Moore of breaking into her home and threatening her with knives. Now Paige Shivers speaks out.
You think you should have gone to jail?
This morning.
Did you tell anyone at the University of Michigan about this relationship?
On Good Morning America.
For the first half of his life, Ed Bushy hid his inability to read from everyone until a crisis led him to confront his secret. So he called literacy volunteers at Bangor. He got a tutor and he learned to read. For the rest of his life, Ed promoted literacy to anyone who would listen. Ed's granddaughter, Kayla, was listening. Her grandfather's story inspired her to volunteer as a literacy tutor. Like Kayla, you can help us reach and teach people like Ed. The need is great, especially now. Become a tutor with Literacy Volunteers today.
Welcome back, everyone. The City of Bangor is starting the process of ironing out their 2027 budget. Our Callie Warren has the details.
It's the first of many budget meetings for the City of Bangor. This early on, the budget remains very much still in that proposal stage. However, it does encompass a little bit of everything from addressing staffing shortages to improving the local library.
We're actually saving money by investing in those positions.
The biggest changes proposed for Bangor's 2027 budget involve strengthening staffing by hiring more support staff for the clerk and treasury department. Additionally, requests have been made by both the city manager and the Bangor fire chief to add an emergency management director to improve disaster response in situations such as severe storm damage, flooding, and infrastructure issues.
When you get to a larger level of municipal responsibilities that have to take place, that position and positions similar to it become increasingly more vital to the well-being and future of the cities.
Furthermore, the Bangor Public Library is requesting a budget increase of just over $250,000. They say they're seeing an increase in unacceptable behavior, issuing more suspensions from the library, and that ARPA funding is coming to an end to fund their social workers position, a resource that both the library and individuals in the community rely on.
The libraries have always been that kind of place where people cross paths from different walks of life. Connecting people to services helps people move out of that public space and have a private space as well, something that people also need. And that's part of why it's important to have a social worker in the library.
In Bangor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, the Society for Science is a nonprofit in Washington, D.C. that is awarding more than $110,000 in STEM research grants to 41 educators across 16 states. A teacher in Dover Foxcroft is one of those recipients. Jonathan Dumont of Sotomocha Middle School teaches 8th grade physical science and leads the school science fair. He was awarded $2,200 in grant funding to expand hands-on STEM learning. Dumont said, quote, grant funding will be used to establish freshwater and saltwater tanks for growing mussels and other bivalves. It will also support rearing algae, monitoring water quality, and measuring bacterial growth. In the future, an extracurricular club for 7th graders will use this equipment to conduct high-quality science fair projects and build connections with the local environment and community. Exciting news for the students there. Well, an EMMC employee who intervened to help save a missing autistic child is being praised by the Brewer Police Department. Here is Sergeant Nickerson awarding Trista Burchill with a Brewer PD Challenge coin. It happened yesterday. Burchill was working on the 3rd floor of Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center when she saw a young child playing on the riverbank of the Penobscot River near Indian Trail Park, close to the water. That's across the river from the hospital. She called Brewer PD and the police and fire responded. It had been discovered that an 8-year-old autistic child was missing from a residence, and Brewer's Sergeant Nickerson coordinated the police response, which included officers deploying to Indian Trail Park, the Conservation Club, and the Treats Falls Dam. The officers moved over rough terrain, and with the assistance of Brewer Fire, they found the child and reunited that child with its mother. The challenge coin was in recognition of Burchill's assistance in that difficult situation. Good for her. It's good when people do get involved sometimes. All right, the time now is 6:17. Coming up after the break, a powerful storm system spawns tornadoes in several states, leaving a trail of destruction. Plus, the latest on the war with Iran, including new clues about the status of Iran's new leader. Those stories and more straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
When disaster strikes, who do you call? Penobscot Cleaning Services for smoke and fire damage, water and storm damage, and even nasty mold. Who do you call? Penobscot Cleaning Services for the cleanest carpets, guaranteed. Who do you call? Penobscot Cleaning Services, from cleanup to restoration and everything in between. Wow! Tell your insurance company you want Penobscot Cleaning Services. Visit our website for more info. We'll restore things to normal in no time.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Tornadoes in the plains, with the worst damage being reported in northern Oklahoma. A huge twister roaring through the city, and in the end, officials say there was a lot of damage. They say at least 10 people were injured, and the full extent of damage won't be known until daylight. There have been at least 17 reported twisters from Iowa to Oklahoma, which had the most destructive one by far. Sophie Flay has more.
Overnight, this massive tornado slamming Enid, Oklahoma. Officials warning residents to take cover.
It was weird. You could feel the tornado. You could feel it in your chest. It was a rumble that, I mean, I'm never going to forget this because, when they say it sounds kind of like a freight train, that's true.
Multiple homes destroyed. One neighborhood completely leveled.
I am at a loss for words right now at what I'm seeing on TV right here. This is as bad as it can get.
Emergency crews launching search and rescue operations for people trapped under debris.
It's kind of a nightmare right at the moment. There are injuries. I'm aware of that.
While several injuries have been reported, most are described as minor, but the scale of the damage still being determined.
We won't know the true extent of the damage here until the sun comes up. We're expecting to see a lot more, but right now we can tell you power lines are down throughout the area. Power is lost in many places. Many people seeking shelter for the night, unable to return home.
Meanwhile, across the southeast, a different weather extreme. Wildfires intensifying in Georgia. More than 30 new fires breaking out in one day, prompting new evacuations. Nearly 90 homes destroyed, more than 1,000 at risk.
It's very heartbreaking to see our neighbors going through what they're going through, but we're out here doing what we can do, pulling together as a community.
The fires fueled by extreme drought with no significant rainfall in sight. Drought also impacting parts of the plains and Texas. In Corpus Christi, Texas, the main water reservoirs are sitting nearly empty. Officials warn the city could face a full-scale water emergency by September. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
All right, the time now is 6:21. Let's get a full look at our forecast with Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Start your morning right at Clifton General Store. Fresh coffee and hot breakfast, family owned and operated. Alrighty, here we go this morning. Wave heights very relaxed at around 2 to 3 feet according to the buoys, and farther off towards the north and east, not looking too bad either. Farther off towards the south and east at around 5 feet according to the buoys as well. So overall, the ocean looking very relaxed this morning. We have no advisories in effect on land. Just a little bit of precipitation trying to develop this morning with an area low pressure right nearby. We may get a few snowflakes this morning, switching over to sprinkles or light rain showers this afternoon as temperatures rise above freezing. Those snowflakes may accumulate a little bit early on before temperatures again warm above freezing. So there's the activity, the bigger map that we're looking at. Anything more is across parts of the Midwest, but for us, again, we're looking pretty good. So again, we may see a few snowflakes early on today and farther down toward the south becoming rainfall. Again, this is what we're looking at. Again, becoming more rain chances as we get temperatures warming up. Everything backs off later on tonight, and even as we head towards tomorrow, a nice one on the way. Just some clouds developing, and even once we head towards Saturday night, still looking really good. The clouds staying at bay for the most part, and even by your Sunday, still looking really good. Any snow accumulation is very minimal, and it will melt very quickly with temperatures getting above freezing, and any rain accumulations, again, looking rather minimal as well, not even 1/10 of an inch. So whatever we see today won't be a big deal at all. So again, new drought monitor out, and this is what we wanted to see, major improvement in the drought monitor. Still seeing severe drought to the south and west, but this is wonderful to see finally some improvement in the drought monitor. So for today, mostly cloudy. I'm going rain and snow showers, but more rain showers than anything else, with highs in the mid-40s and that north wind at around 25 miles per hour. Later on tonight, we have upper 20s, mostly clear with that north breeze at about 5 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, we have mid-50s under a partly cloudy sky and that north breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store, showing a mostly cloudy sky coming up for your Sunday with highs in the low 60s, with mid-60s coming up for your Monday under a partly cloudy sky. Still mid-60s Tuesday, also partly cloudy.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
With over 30 years of experience, Patriot General Contractors knows how to get your home renovation project done right. Our certified contractors can help you build, redesign, or finish the project of your dreams. Check out Facebook page for reviews and visit patriotgeneralcontractors.com to schedule your quote today. Patriot General Contractors, redesigning your properties for the future.
Ready, set, let's go! Come to the open house at Greenway Equipment Sales in Bangor this Saturday and get geared up for the season. Celebrate spring and save on John Deere equipment. Take advantage of Deere season financing on John Deere compact utility and lawn tractors, Z-Trax, and Gators. Save hundreds on tractor attachments. Get 10% off all in-stock parts. And grab one-day only Greenway dollars for even more savings. The Smith Brothers invite you to their open house celebration this Saturday at Greenway Equipment Sales in Bangor.
Davis Brothers Furniture is expanding. At Davis Brothers, we've always strived to stand out from the rest, and we are now proud to offer flooring for your home, featuring both carpeting and luxury vinyl flooring. We even have an installer in-house with over 30 years of experience. Come see the reason people have been traveling from all over the state and beyond to Davis Brothers Furniture in Guilford for decades. Davis Brothers Furniture, deliberately different, delivering statewide.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Now to the war with Iran and President Trump's latest threat. He's vowing to step up efforts to clear mines from the Strait of Hormuz while ordering the Navy to take aim at mine-laying boats. And we're also getting new details about the head of the Iranian regime. ABC's Marcus Moore has the latest.
This morning, new clues about the condition of Iran's supreme leader, believed to be gravely wounded in the attack that killed his father at the beginning of the war. Sources telling multiple news outlets the new Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei is recovering from severe injuries to his face and legs, but remains mentally sharp, meeting with senior officials. The New York Times reports he needed 3 surgeries on his leg and is waiting for a prosthetic. And his face and lips were burned so badly, it's hard for him to speak, leaving generals of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard to make key decisions.
I don't want to rush myself. I'm not under any pressure whatsoever.
As the war enters its 9th week, President Trump says he feels no pressure to reach a peace deal with Iran. He's ordered the military to shoot and kill boats laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, with more mines reportedly deployed by Iran this week. As the war drags on, polls show Americans frustrated with gas prices, which are up more than $1 per gallon since the conflict began.
If you need more time, does that mean Americans should anticipate spending more on gasoline for the foreseeable future?
For a little while. And you know what they get for that? You know what they get for that? Iran without a nuclear weapon.
Airlines are now raising fares and reducing flights because of rising fuel prices. American Airlines now says it plans to spend an extra $4 billion on jet fuel this year.
And no new peace talks are scheduled here in Pakistan, but there is an encouraging development on the other front in this war. Israel and Lebanon have agreed to extend the fragile ceasefire there for 3 more weeks. Marcus Moore, ABC News, Islamabad, Pakistan.
In other news, a new flotilla is preparing to try and deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza amid fears of an interception by Israeli military authorities. Several pro-Palestinian activists gathered in an Italian port city on Thursday as the global Samud flotilla prepares to set sail for the Gaza Strip. This after its last initiative, made up of almost 50 vessels, were stopped by the Israeli Navy back in October. Israel says the interception was part of its naval blockade enforcement of Gaza, adding the flotilla, which it accused of being funded by Hamas, was, quote, not a humanitarian mission, but a political one. But despite fears, organizers say the new flotilla will be the largest yet, made up of more than 70 boats and 1,000 people from all around the world. Participants say they hope the mission will revive attention to the Palestinians in Gaza as focus has largely now turned toward the war with Iran.
Compared to 5-6 months ago, we have even more reasons to set sail. What the Palestine people have been telling us for years now is that the death of international law there is something that concerns us all.
Organizers say the flotilla's departure date has not yet been set. A crackdown on the Mexican mafia as federal authorities arrest more than 24 members and associates in Southern California. The U.S. Attorney's Office says several search and arrest warrants were executed on Thursday during an early morning operation in about 30 locations, mostly in Orange County, located south of Los Angeles. 43 people, including those already in custody, have been indicted on charges that include murder, kidnapping, extortion, running an illegal gambling operation, and drug trafficking. According to prosecutors and the U.S. Attorney's Office, they also said they seized several illegal weapons, drugs, and cash in Thursday's raids. And that operation, titled Gangsta Paradise, is aimed to dismantle the illegal activities.
We have seized a sobering amount of drugs and weapons. 25 firearms, tens of thousands of dollars in cash, 4 kilos of fentanyl, 120 pounds of methamphetamine, 3 kilograms of cocaine, 2 pounds of heroin, and again, 5,000 fentanyl pills.
While 43 people are in custody, First Assistant to the U.S. Attorney, Bill Isolé, says the operation is looking to target a total of 47 members. Well, now to allegations that a member of the U.S. Special Forces cashed in on a top-secret raid using a controversial platform that's exploded in popularity. Rena Roy with that story.
This morning, more concerns about the growing popularity of prediction markets. A U.S. Special Operations soldier is now accused of using classified information to make a $400,000 profit on a wager about the raid that captured Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. The Justice Department claims the soldier tried to hide the evidence by deleting his account on Polymarket. President Trump, when asked about the case, appeared sympathetic.
Now, if he bet against his team, that would be no good, but he bet on his own team. I'll look into it.
Prediction markets are facing scrutiny for alleged insider trading on the platforms. Just this week, 3 former and current congressional candidates were suspended by the prediction market Kalshi for betting on their own races. Observers have noted high-volume wagers placed just before big events, including the airstrike that killed Iran's Ayatollah and the announcement of the U.S. ceasefire with Iran. Both platforms say insider trading won't be tolerated. But now, 2 Republicans in Congress are calling for the Special Operations soldier to be pardoned. One saying unless the Department of Justice plans on going after all the crooks in Congress currently insider trading, this is simply skewed justice.
The whole world, unfortunately, has become somewhat of a casino. I was never much in favor of it. I don't like it conceptually, but it is what it is. No, I think that I'm not happy with any of that stuff.
In Paris, authorities are investigating if someone tampered with a weather monitoring device at Charles de Gaulle Airport because of a Polymarket bet over what the temperature would be. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
And coming up on the second half of the newscast, Maine's Bureau of Motor Vehicles launches a new mobile unit that will help provide services to Maine's rural areas. We'll tell you how it will work as Good Morning Maine rolls along.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Kirk Fisher is a motorcycle attorney with first responder experience. He protects fellow riders and those in danger, fighting fires and fighting for your rights. Experienced, determined, and dedicated. Iron Horse Motorcycle Lawyers. Look for motorcycles, or Kurt Fisher will be looking for you.
Every year, communities recognize outstanding service with the Spirit of America Foundation Tribute. you know a local person or group that goes above and beyond for others? Nominate them today by contacting a select person, city, or town councilor. Help honor those who make a difference where you live. For more information, visit spiritofamerica.website.
All across America.
Good morning. Hello.
Wherever we are,
welcome.
It feels like home.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Man, it's good to be home.
GMA, it's an invitation to come together.
Hey, George, how are you? Good morning.
And brighten your morning.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Friday, April 24th, 2026, and this is also National Scream Day. Don't worry, I won't scream at you. It may sound silly, but this day has its merits. In today's busy world, it's easy to get overwhelmed and feel pressure and anxiety, and that's why it's important to find a way to release that tension. Many psychologists are convinced that there's nothing like a good scream to let it all out. So feel free to scream. Just make sure you do it in the right place. You don't want to freak everybody out. All right, time for history. It was on this day in history back in 1800, the Library of Congress was established, which has become the National Library for the United States. In 1916, Irish Republicans launched the Easter Rising, a rebellion against British rule. Though the rebels had surrendered to British forces 6 days earlier, the uprising set the stage for Republican victories in the upcoming election and also led to the establishment of the Irish Free State. In 1960 on this date, rioting erupted in Biloxi, Mississippi after black protesters staged a wade-in at a whites-only beach. They were attacked by a crowd of hostile white people. In 1962, MIT sent a TV signal by satellite for the first time, and in 1990, the Space Shuttle Discovery blasted off while carrying the $1.5 billion Hubble Space Telescope. The telescope has provided important data on the expansion of the universe, distant galaxies, and much more. And it continues to send back data to this day. All right, for birthdays today, they include singer and TV host Kelly Clarkson, who is 44 years old today. Iconic singer Barbra Streisand is 84. And actor Joe Carey from Stranger Things is 34 years old today. Happy birthday to you also, if your birthday is today. We hope you have a wonderful day. All right, looks like the weather's not going to be great today, but things will be clearing up some as we head into the weekend. Let's turn things back over to Devin for your forecast.
Alrighty, Craig, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Start your morning right at Clifton General Store. Fresh coffee and hot breakfast. Family owned and operated. Alrighty, here we go. This morning, no advisories in effect. We're going to be watching for some rain and possibly a few snow showers, at least during the morning period. We'll switch over to a few rain showers coming up throughout the daytime period as temperatures get above freezing. So let's zoom things out. The culprit is a little area of low pressure that will be moving away. So again, a few sprinkles of light rain showers possible this afternoon. This morning, a few light snow showers can't be ruled out before that switches over to rainfall. So here's Futurecast picking up on that activity. It will be backing off later on tonight with the clouds breaking up as well. So some gusty winds possible today too, reaching up to about 20 miles per hour. We'll see the winds relaxing overnight, and even once we head towards tomorrow, we may see the winds picking up a little bit, but not the worst, around 15 miles per hour, a little bit higher further off towards the east. So your hourly forecast moving forward, again, we have clouds, some sprinkles or light rain showers, maybe a few snowflakes early on with temperatures rising into the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig?
Thank you, Devin. Now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
Like a gut punch. I hurt my own feelings.
Nick Jonas has announced a series of performances in 6 cities across the East Coast under the name A Night with Nick. The shows will feature songs off Sunday Best, Jonas' recent solo album, as well as past hits. It all kicks off on June 4th in Niagara Falls, New York. Bad news if you're a fan of the 1995 comedy Clueless. A planned reboot has now reportedly been scrapped. Alicia Silverstone has been attached to reprise her role from the original movie in a TV series for Peacock. It was first announced a year ago, but now the streaming service has pulled the plug. And happy birthday to Barbra Streisand. The iconic singer is one of a handful of people to have an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony to her name. She turns 84 today. That's what's happening in Hollywood. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News.
And still to come this morning, Jack Webb with all the day's sports news. Don't go away.
Who has the best kept secret in Penobscot County?
We do!
Welcome to Maple Lane Farms, a fifth-generation family farm that's committed to providing you with the best quality products. Our farm-raised local and sustainable meat is flash frozen to lock in the freshness and natural flavors. Experience the top-notch quality of our meat that's naturally raised without any antibiotics or hormones. Get the best of both worlds, quality and affordability. Try Maple Lane Farms today, the candy store for the carnivore.
At Spectrum, we believe a great connection shouldn't come with compromise. And now, it doesn't have to. Get Spectrum fiber-powered internet. And when you add 2 mobile phone lines, it's just $30 a month each. Experience the fastest internet and most reliable 5G network. And save $1,000 on internet and mobile in your first year. Guaranteed. That's the Spectrum Savings Guarantee. Call now or go online to save $1,000 on internet and mobile.
There's a reason you see Gravely mowers on so many commercial landscaping trailers. Pros don't choose equipment by accident. They choose what holds up. To get the day-in, day-out performance you demand at home, step up to a Gravely. The Gravely Mow Like a Pro sales event is here. Save up to $250 on select Gravely zero-turn mowers. Mow like a pro with Gravely. Visit your local Gravely dealer today.
Only at Glenburn Landscape and Supply Company, where great backyards begin.
Welcome back in, folks. On Tuesday, the Maine baseball team scored their first win over a nationally ranked opponent since 2018. Our Max Sturm caught up with the Black Bears to chat about it.
We played a complete game against a really good baseball team, and that's where the excitement lays for me.
March 2nd, 2018. That was the last time the Maine baseball team defeated a nationally ranked opponent. That was until Tuesday, when the Black Bears traveled to Brighton, Massachusetts to battle with number 22 Boston College, who they bested by a score of 6-4. Maine took an early lead in the first inning when freshman Troy Carpenter hit a ball deep into center field and then extended that lead when he hit a single home run in the third.
That was big. I feel like we shut them down after that. I was glad that I was able to help the team out, secure the W, and everyone stepped up and did their jobs.
The Eagles would crawl back and tie the game going into the ninth inning. That's when graduate student Juju Stevens stepped up to the plate, awaited the pitch, and crushed the ball deep into left field for a 2-run home run, giving Maine a 6-4 lead.
Oh, it felt awesome. That one's probably one of my top college moments for sure. It felt good. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to put my skills on display and have it come into fruition right there.
I mean, he's an excellent baseball player. I mean, we have some guys that have been able to come up big in late innings, and he obviously did it and has done it.
With the bottom of the ninth still looming, it was up to senior pitcher Sebastian Holt to close the game. And with 2 outs on the board, Holt finalized the score sheet.
Those are the moments that I love being in. I love playing against good competition. I relish that. So it was just a good feeling to do my job.
After an exciting win, the Black Bears still have business to handle this weekend as America East rival UMBC makes the trip up to Orono.
It's business as usual for us, and that's the way we're going to be able to continue the momentum.
We're just going to do what we did, do what we do.
This is going to be a big momentum series for us. I think Energy is going to win this weekend.
In Orono, Max Sturm, ABC7 and Fox 22 Sports.
Heading back down to Boston now, where the Bruins and Sabres moved the series to the Garden after leaving Buffalo with the series tied 1-1. Game 3 on Thursday night. We pick it up in the second period. Bruins on the breakout, and Tanner Jeannot fires it through the traffic to open the scoring and take the lead. later that period. Watch this one. A Sabres player is going to snap their stick in their own zone. Arvidsson makes a heads-up play, but he's tripped on the breakaway to draw a penalty shot, the fourth penalty shot of this playoffs. But his 1-on-0 opportunity would be denied with a blocker save from Alex Lyon, and the game stays tied 1-0. A minute later, Sabres on the attack. Bowen Byram is left all alone on the dot. He fires the shot at the net, deflects off Hagens, and gets past Jeremy Swayman to tie the game. Then in the third, the Sabres would take the lead following this Alex Tuck wicked wrister as the Sabres take game 3 by a score of 3-1. Both teams back at it on Sunday for game 4. A pivotal game 4 at that. The Bruins do not want to go back down to Buffalo, down 3-1. The NFL draft kicking off Thursday night in Pittsburgh. Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel announced that he will miss day 3 of the draft to seek counseling. The move stems from pictures showing Vrabel and former NFL reporter Diana Russini embracing at an adults-only resort in Arizona. Both Vrabel and Russini are married to other people since then. Older photos of the pair kissing in March of 2020 have emerged. Earlier this week, Vrabel talked about getting help and moving on.
We never want to be the cause of a distraction, and those are comments and questions that I've answered for the team and with the team. We'll keep those private and, to ourselves. I care deeply about this football team, and I'm excited to coach them.
The draft did begin on Thursday night, and it started the way we knew it was gonna for months as the Raiders were on the clock to kick things off. Las Vegas selected this past year's Heisman winner and national champion Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana with the first overall pick. Mendoza guided the Hoosiers to their first title in program history, putting that program on the map decades after decades of irrelevance, and now has an opportunity to do the same with the Las Vegas Raiders.
The last 5 months has been such a blessing by God, and I can't thank him enough. I'm just looking forward to get to work, prove at the next level. College was fantastic. I'm so blessed to have that career, but now I step into a great game of the NFL. Look forward to proving and earning it every single day.
You're going to the Las Vegas Raiders. What excites you the most about this opportunity?
What a great organization, great legacy. There's so many great teammates I'm looking forward to talking to, coaches, owners. I'm ecstatic for the opportunity.
We'll have more on the draft from you on Friday night. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
My name is Rebecca Babbrot, and I'm studying my master's in social work at the University of Maine. After high school, I went to college in upstate New York, but then got involved with life and family, so I had a college education, but no degree. When I first thought about going back to school, it seemed really intimidating. One of the great things about an online program is that you can combine studying as part of your day. I'm actually studying right now. It's such a great feeling to have made myself important in the process and to continue my education.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
The Bureau of Motor Vehicles is taking some of its services on the road. On Thursday, the BMV and Secretary of State's office launched a mobile branch that aims to make services more accessible for people living in rural communities. Our Grace Blanchard shares more.
The Bureau of Motor Vehicles is going mobile. The BMV Mobile Branch is a portable unit that will travel to rural areas without direct services,
ensuring accessible, convenient customer service for every Mainer in our state.
According to Secretary of State Shenna Bellows, for many Mainers, the nearest BMV branch is over an hour away. This unit aims to eliminate that burden.
People are having to take off half a day or a whole day from work just to get their BMV services. So we really wanted services that would go to where the customers are.
The unit is designed to offer the most popular and common services, such as address and name changes, learner's permit services, and issuing driver's license and state ID services and real IDs. Lawmakers say this project received bipartisan support in the Maine legislature to secure funding and move this initiative forward.
I'm not sure that we'd ever see this in my district, but in more rural Maine, it certainly is a game changer for people.
It will also travel to sites like senior living facilities and veterans' homes. Bellows says this mobile branch could reshape the future of the BMV.
We'll always have a branch that you know where it is, you can go there 5 days a week, but having the convenience of service that comes to you, I think is part of the future of the BMV.
The mobile unit will launch in Belfast, Holton, Dover Foxcroft, and Machias before expanding to other communities in the coming weeks. In Augusta, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And now we're going to turn things back over to Devin for one final time for a look at that full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Start your morning right at Clifton General Store. Fresh coffee and hot breakfast, family owned and operated. Alrighty, here we go this morning. Wave heights very relaxed at around 2 to 3 feet according to the buoys, and farther off towards the north and east, not looking too bad either. Farther off towards the south and east at around 5 feet according to the buoys as well. So overall, the ocean looking very relaxed this morning. We have no advisories in effect on land. Just a little bit of precipitation trying to develop this morning with an area low pressure right nearby. We may get a few snowflakes this morning, switching over to sprinkles or light rain showers this afternoon as temperatures rise above freezing. Those snowflakes may accumulate a little bit early on before temperatures again warm above freezing. So there's the activity, the bigger map that we're looking at. Anything more is across parts of the Midwest, but for us, again, we're looking pretty good. So again, we may see a few snowflakes early on today and farther down toward the south becoming rainfall. Again, this is what we're looking at. Again, becoming more rain chances as we get temperatures warming up. Everything backs off later on tonight, and even as we head towards tomorrow, a nice one on the way. Just some clouds developing, and even once we head towards Saturday night, still looking really good. The clouds staying at bay for the most part, and even by your Sunday, still looking really good. Any snow accumulation is very minimal, and it will melt very quickly with temperatures getting above freezing, and any rain accumulations, again, looking rather minimal as well, not even 1/10 of an inch. So whatever we see today won't be a big deal at all. So again, new drought monitor out, and this is what we wanted to see, major improvement in the drought monitor. Still seeing severe drought to the south and west, but this is wonderful to see finally some improvement in the drought monitor. So for today, mostly cloudy. I'm going rain and snow showers, but more rain showers than anything else, with highs in the mid-40s and that north wind at around 25 miles per hour. Later on tonight, we have upper 20s, mostly clear with that north breeze at about 5 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, we have mid-50s under a partly cloudy sky and that north breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store, showing a mostly cloudy sky coming up for your Sunday with highs in the low 60s, with mid-60s coming up for your Monday under a partly cloudy sky. Still mid-60s Tuesday, also partly cloudy.
Carhartt, clothing that works as hard as you do. We've got it. Miller's Workshop, for brands that work.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Bush, and I know what you're thinking, not another Bush, but hear me out. I'm not a politician or a lobbyist. I'm a veteran, an entrepreneur who created over 900 jobs in Maine. And as governor, I'll take a sledgehammer to Janet Mills' wasteful spending. I'll slash your taxes, property, and income, and put the Democrats' woke policies in the shredder. I'm Jonathan Bush. It's time for a Johnny, don't touch the shredder.
Fire, water, storm damage, and even mold. We take care of you from cleanup to construction 24/7. When disaster strikes, tell your insurance company you want Penobscot Cleaning Services.
Hey! That ought to do it.
Who hurt you?
That was a drop the mic moment.
Idol celebrates Taylor Swift music as the hopefuls sing her greatest hits live.
Nice.
With guest judge Nikki Glazer.
I'm in my Idol era.
American Idol live Monday on ABC and Disney+.
Kellogg's is bringing back an old cereal tradition. To celebrate the release of a highly anticipated Disney movie, the breakfast giant announced it will be putting toys back in its cereal boxes. For the first time in more than a decade, the revival comes ahead of the release of Pixar's Toy Story 5, which will be in theaters starting in June. The special edition cereal boxes featuring toys inspired by the movie's key characters, including Woody, Buzz Lightyear, and Jessie, will be available in several Kellogg's cereals nationwide on April 26th. Well, you can own sparkling pieces of Michael Jackson's memorabilia, gloves from the King of Pop's Bad Tour, a hat of his, and a sequin jacket from the Victory Tour are among 50 items from the late singer that will go under the hammer near Paris on June 3rd. The glove was worn during performances of Billie Jean on the Bad Tour. It is estimated at more than $175,000. The sale brings together clothing, stage costumes, accessories, autographs, and 3 drawings by the singer. All the pieces come from a Norwegian collector who spent decades acquiring Jackson memorabilia. Ahead of the auction, the items will be shown to the public during an exhibition at the Auction House near Paris on May 30th, June 1st, and on June 2nd as well. So if you're a big Michael Jackson fan and you'd like to have a piece of his memorabilia and you've got very deep pockets, you may want to book a flight to Paris. All right, that'll do it for this hour. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. We'll continue broadcasting for the next couple of hours on Fox 22 here in Bangor. But if you're heading out for the day, we hope you have a great day and a wonderful weekend.
Are you in need of remodeling your bathroom?
What was happening with the boilers, and opened the door, and there was about 12 to 14 inches of water in our basement. I knew who to call right away, and that was Bouchard. They were here within a half hour. They work well with our insurance company. They're very, very efficient, and all I have to do is call them any time of day. They're going to take care of me. Our business is our life, and that's why I don't hesitate to recommend them to other people.
Your call is important to us.
You've heard this before, too many times. Tired of being customer 45978? Yeah, we would be too. Speed means fast uploads, no lag, and zero buffering. But it also means calling you back, showing up on time, and treating you like a person, not a problem. So whether you're working, streaming, gaming, or all 3, it is time to make the switch to a provider that actually tries. Go NetSpeed. Service isn't dead. It just moved local.
The marathon of life can be challenging. Chores and responsibilities keep us from the things we once loved and the aspirations we set. But it's never too late to find your second wind. With an affordable, fully online program and advisors to help you along the way, you can cross the finish line when it works for you. Finish strong at the University of Maine.
I know that you're sitting right in front of me, but can I say hi to Douglas?
Obviously.
Hey, gorgeous. Hi, Douglas.
Douglas is making this interview super fun. When I rescued him, he was 8 weeks old.
I'm being licked right here.
Dougie's really the star.
Where does the dog go after the show?
My house.
Weekdays at 11 on Fox 22.
Good Morning Maine on WFVX, Fox 22. From the Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. The body of a Maine fisherman has been recovered from the coast of Maine. We'll have the details coming up. Also this morning, the Maine DOT is stepping up efforts to improve safety in Maine's work zones. And we'll also take you to a meeting held in Bangor yesterday where officials are considering expanding the workforce as part of the city budget. We'll have that story as well. Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. I'm Craig Colson, and Janessa Bishop has the day off. We thank you for joining us this morning. We'll have all those stories and more coming up, including the latest on a bunch of tornadoes that touched down in the Plain States yesterday, causing a lot of destruction down there. But first, a check of our forecast, and it's looking like today will be much like the last couple of days. We'll see some more clouds with a chance of rain and even a little bit of snow in some areas, but don't